Stryker boats, and today we're going to set up a brand new 2025 HD 470. Typically up at the lake here, I've been using a 420 or a 380 as it's just a bit easier to move around. You can look out there and you can see the dock, so we got quite a ways to kind of wheel the boat in. We got an outboard, so I do have this year, I have a wheel stand, so I can put this in the back of my truck and I just leave the motor attached to it while we're traveling, and it works great. The motor still looks brand new. Normally when I travel down bumpy gravel roads, something finds its way to the cowl, and I always tend to have a little damage to the outboard somewhere. So it's nice to show up at camp and not have anything wrong with it. So that was really nice. Now this year I want to run this HD 470. I just want to have a little bit more room. I'm going to set the boat up with no seats in the boat. I prefer having the wide open platform. I love having the EVA foam on the floor, but just because of the area and setting it up with no real ramp, I wanted to use an HD. I just feel it's going to be a little bit lighter for me to deal with. So follow along. I'm going to show you guys start to finish setting up a 470 from the bag by yourself. So let's get to work. So of course, any brand new boat is significantly harder to set up the first time you do it. We make our boats very tight, and the reason we do that is that after the break-in period, the floor is still firm, and that's very important. You don't want to have a sloppy floor. So a little bit of pain to start out, but at the end of the day, you end up with a product that is significantly better to use in the long run. Okay, now usually what I like to do is just get a little bit of air in the boat. That kind of gives it a little bit of shape. Let's get a little air in this thing. So I always do the transom board and the bow board first. The other boards, it actually doesn't matter where they go. They're all interchangeable, but these two are important. So I like to come just back a bit and I kind of pull everything to the side. You want to make sure that the floor is fully seated. Straighten out the keel. Now the bow board, what I like to do is kind of get in the boat with it. And I kick it up the first few times because it's gonna be tight. So what I like to do is get it sitting right at the bottom. And the best way to do that is to pull up on the side of the lifeline. And then what I do is I come into the boat and I give that a little kick forward. This is the time now to center this as good as possible. You know what? I'm totally fine with that amount of pressure for now. That gives me lots to work with and gives the boat a little bit of shape. So what I do is I always stick it in the one side and I grab this interior lifeline and I pull everything away from it. And you want to make sure that that is fully seated. Sometimes it's actually, I find you come to the bow and you give it a little pull and it straightens everything on the floor out. Yeah, and you can see I just gave it a tiny little push and it straightened everything right out for me. What I'm doing here is I'm keeping eye to make sure that these are lined up. Now this final one, this is where it's most important. This is where it's nice to have a partner for this one. Everything else I find fairly easy to do by myself. I'm gonna try this by myself just to see. It's been a while since I've done. Okay, so I'm gonna line those edges up. What I'm doing is I'm lining up where the stringer bites on the side here. So now what we do, it's always a little bit tough to do with one. Let's see if I can do it. So I pull it together. Now, before I push it down, I'm looking that they're lined up. They are. Now, push down. You make sure that it's fully seated. So that went in really, really good. Now, stringers. You can notice there's different lengths. So how it works, it doesn't matter what order they go to start. You can go long, short. Now the other side, you start at the front long and the back would be short because you never want the joint to meet up at the same spot on either side. So to do stringers, I like to do the back ones first. The reason is when the boat's new, it's tight. So I like to kind of push them back. So I don't put them in right at the back, but I get them back there. So I go, let's say, just in from the back where I feel I got some room. Put that on a good way. I pull up on here and it's a push and a turn. And I push that back corner. Occasionally I use my foot to do that. So you can use the end of a stringer or a mallet is really easy too. Now you don't have to, after the boat is broken in, you don't have to do this. This is only when the boat's brand new. Sometimes you get a little push and a turn and it will always go in. And this is another good trick. You kind of push your heel on it. This one's going long at the back. I'll show you the stringer method. So I use this. So what you want to do is you want to get it started and then it just rolls in. Now, I'm not going to use seats in this boat. I like my boats wide open platform. So that's how I'm going to set it up. The dogs are always hopping over them or hopping under them. I like to have side bags on and just the boat open concept. Sometimes I put a pedestal, sometimes I don't. This trip, not. So the best way to do this, you do every chamber to 1 PSI. So how you know you're at 1 PSI? The pump will shift gears. There's a 2-stage in there and you can hear it ramp up. Before it hits that, I try to move it. If I don't get it in time, you just push the on button. You don't need to turn it off and I just change the location of where I have the hose. It works very well. So I started at 445, it's 457, and we're just gonna let the pump do its thing. You always wanna start at the bow, work your way back to the transom. What that does is pushes your baffles to the rear. If you are in a very warm day, what happens is that will release a little bit of pressure and then the baffles will work their way forward. You can hear the pump, it kind of starts to idle up a little bit. The on button resets it back to the first stage without having to turn the pump off and turn it on. Important things you can do to a brand new boat, I always 303 it. So while it's pumping, I'm gonna go around, I'm gonna 303 the entire boat. You wanna make sure you kind of get everything. I flip the D-rings over when I do it. I get in between the rub rail. I get the Scotty pads. When the pump's done, you want to get that as quick as possible because it will start releasing air out. Okay guys, let's check the time. So, from the bags, fully set up, 5:09. I started at 4:45. So 25 minutes. And I'm kind of doing some other stuff in there as well. So I'm gonna finish 303ing it. Then I'm gonna inflate the keel and throw my launching wheels on and that's it. The 303 is not something I do every time. It's like a once in a while. If you don't use your boat much, you can get away with once a season. A lot of people struggle putting in the floor. The trick is to not overthink it. It's a process and you follow the steps, make sure the panels are clear. Make sure you TP it in the middle, push it down, slide the stringers on. It's a process. It's just like anything. And once you do it a few times, it does really, I know it's cliche, but it does become like second nature. Even the bags, right? Like the bags are one of those things. There's no downside. You just get some 303 on there. so that was the setup, start to finish, 303 treatment. New boat. Now I did get the guys yesterday to unroll it and throw the launching wheel brackets on for me. So I'm gonna use single wheels. I generally, on things like this, don't put the motor on until I have it in the water. With singles, double, sure you could. Wouldn't you know, the wind has completely stopped. We thought we were in for a big storm. There was lots of wind when we first got here. We're gonna head out. We're gonna extend a new water line. Exciting stuff. So guys, thanks for watching. This is a HD 2025 470.